Hey, this is Josh with Growlink, and in today's walkthrough, we'll be going over how to make a batch tank dry run protection sensor trigger within Portal 2.0. You'll start by logging into the web portal and selecting your controller from the list. In this case, we're going to use our example controller. Once you're at the dashboard for your controller, you'll select the Rules tab up at the top of the web page. Within the Rules page, you'll select the folder and the rule group that you want this rule to be made in, followed by selecting the sensor trigger and the subdividers for the Rules tab. Next, we're going to hit the Add Sensor Trigger button. In the sensor trigger form, there's a number of fields that we're going to fill out. In this case, we're going to start with the display name, and we're going to use the name of Example Dry Run Protection. For time of day, we're going to select the option of all day, so that this rule will always be active. In this case, for the sensor, we're going to choose the batch tank level sensor we have. And for the device, since this is feeding valve 1 and the zone's downstream, we're going to select valve 1. Next, we're going to specify the value that we want our dry run protection to start at. In this case, I'm going to choose a value of 10%. And then the deadband for this rule, which is the variance around that point that we want the rule to activate and deactivate around. In this case, I'm going to choose a deadband of 2% and an activation point of below. Once we have all of these pieces set in place, you'll see that there's a rule summary sentence that will summarize the logic being utilized. In this case, the function of this dry run protection is to prevent valve number 1 from opening if your tank gets too low. This is to prevent the feed pumps underneath from running dry and potentially damaging themselves. The last thing that we need to change in this rule to get it to function in this manner is the override toggle at the bottom. With this activated, the summary logic sentence will update saying it's going to force the device off when the batch tank falls below 8% fill level and will be allowed to activate again when it gets above 12%. This rule will make sure that the batch tank never runs dry and will never potentially damage your pumps as long as we're getting a stable reading from the tank level sensor. To finish making this sensor trigger, we will hit the Add Trigger button, followed by clicking the Update Controller button in the top right. Once this config update goes through, this logic will be on the controller and will prevent this batch tank valve from opening as long as your batch tank level sensor stays above the value of 12%. This concludes how to create a batch tank dry run sensor trigger override within Portal 2.0.